Nigerian dream is to become a Canadian permanent resident. That's the Nigerian dream. And whatever Japa step that makes you closer to get to that
So the
PR.
dream.
Yes, yes, I feel like that's the dream. Um,
What you say? That you only meant well, cause you did. What you say? You let it go What you say? That you only meant well.
Hey, it's Asasuri, and I welcome you back to the show. Yes, I know it's been a while, but we are back. And we always have it all right here. I came with a very interesting gist right here. So today we have some guests in our midst. Yes, we have two guests in our midst to talk on this very important topic. Japa. Should I not Japa? For those that don't understand what Japa means, should I relocate? Should I travel abroad? So the interesting people in our midst today. We have Success in the studio. I also have Favour in the studio. So Success, let's hear from you. Introduce yourself to my audience.
All right. Thank you so much, Osasiri, for inviting me
Yeah.
for your podcast. Okay, my name is Success Areveso, and I'm so excited to be here. I
Yeah.
currently live in Lagos, Nigeria, and
You're
and
still here.
I'm still in this country. And based on the conversation or the topic, I think it's ideal for me to give my stance now. I would say it is advisable for young people like myself to japa, and then I can give my reasons later. But I'm just giving my stance at the beginning of the podcast. So
That's your own standpoint.
that's my standpoint.
Okay, that's good. For more you just say. So Favor, let's hear from Favor. Favor, what's up? Can you hear me?
yes, I can hear you.
To my audience.
Okay. My name is Favour
Yeah.
Borodini, and I am currently in Nottingham. I am doing my PhD at the University of Nottingham.
Okay.
I only just left Nigeria in October, and I think it's very advisable for young people to leave Nigeria if they so desire, and even if you don't desire it,
Okay.
I always wonder, like, why don't you want to leave? Because I feel like traveling is part of the human experience, and for many people, traveling to further your education, one of the first opportunities they have leave the country. So I feel
Okay.
like it's a good thing all round for people to travel out of the country, whether temporarily or permanently.
Yeah, but, okay. If I should call me, I really support the idea that experience other places, and if you have a better opportunity to outside your terrain, outside your country, why not? I think it was until recently that I discovered that it is more or less like relocation. Obviously, I don't think there's anybody that will argue that you shouldn't see or even desire going outside the country to further your studies. So for me, the reason why I'm looking beyond cutting is that this year alone, in fact, the pressure is getting worse. I've never paid attention until I discovered a lot of persons have actually traveled outside. I also discovered that during the point of application, do you have intention to return back to your country? And Favor, what did you? Hello, Favor, can you hear me?
I didn't know the last part of what you said, but I think you're asking that in when I was filling my form, that
Yeah.
what did I feel when they asked me about
Intention to return back.
oh, okay. Well, the funny thing is that there was nothing like that in my visa application or my
Mm.
yes, I know some scholarships like Commonwealth, not Cambridge, Chevening, for instance.
Yeah.
They require their scholars to return to their home countries for 2 years or 1 year before they ever return to the UK again. But I do not see any such question when I was applying.
But like I said, on the long run, it's location at best. That's what's happening. So
Well,
my point.
I don't think it's wrong for people who want to school abroad to have relocation at the back of their mind,
Mm.
because and it even factors into the country that you choose when you want to travel. So some people would prefer to go to Canada because the immigration routes to becoming a permanent resident is quite easy.
Yeah.
The UK is unattractive because they are so hostile to immigrants.
Mm-hmm.
But recently they began to, they began to permit students to stay for up to 2 years or 3 years after their
Mm.
degree. But there was a time they scrapped it, and they recently just brought it back. So I think those things factor into why people even choose the schools or the countries that they go to study. And I don't
Okay.
think it's necessarily a bad thing, because people in the diaspora also contribute to the economy back home. Like they send money to their family members, to their
I, I,
parents.
I don't I don't even think we want
Mhm.
that. Does it really have like a major?
Yes, it does. Like diaspora
For me, I
remittance.
think I need to even go there because at the last record that was given by the study abroad route has become one of the major ways people bring it or dependents into the UK to displace more or less at best to their immediate family and not to the economy at large. But I don't really want to go towards that direction. Let's hear from success. Success aspect of, oh fine, like Favour has put it, there's nothing wrong in getting there and seeing that, oh, this place my question is, what happens to the Nigerian dream? What happens to future of Nigeria is us? What happened to that idea? Is it no longer? Because I'm very sure if gets the opportunity to leave this country, they'll be on the next flight tomorrow. So what happens
I
to that dream?
I think that the way I view it now, I'm viewing it from the lens of people are traveling out of the country. Just like how people have said, it's more like people are in search for a better future, for a better life, and so I'm
Yeah.
viewing it as a means to an end. So
Okay.
if you can look at the major of the companies or the investments or people that are really thriving well in Nigeria, many people have many people that are doing all those innovations. If you can check, they've done their studies abroad. Like for some of the people that have researched on, and I'm going to be the first person that's coming to my mind is Indidi Nweli. I hope that's a correct pronunciation. I think she's the founder of Leap Africa. I'm using
Okay.
her. I'm using that as an example because that's like my field. So for those people listening, I'm currently involved in the social impact space and everything. And I think
Okay.
she did some of her postgraduate schools abroad, but she's currently in Nigeria, and
Mm.
she has built her organization for over 20 years now, supporting social innovators, people to
Mm.
young people to launch their projects and all of that. So this is she's just like, let me say, like an example. And also we also have Ifedru Smieti. She's founder of economy. She went to school in the UK to do a master's program there, and she's currently in Nigeria.
Okay.
She has a company that she's building like a savings app. So I don't think that a lot of people that are traveling now, I know there is a wave of
Do
people
you
leaving
think
the country.
them
I don't
studying
think
outside has a role to play with it?
Yes,
It
yes, it has a huge role to play with it, because the education that you are getting from schools abroad is the quality of education you are getting from schools abroad is way better than what you are receiving here in Nigeria. So people go there to for different reasons, just like how Favor has mentioned. And I think the major reason I would say is number one, to improve their network. So there's this saying
yeah.
that your network is your net worth. So people are
Mm.
going there to improve their network, people are going there to learn new things and new innovations that they can, improve in their country. That's the reason why you are seeing Commonwealth and Chevening scholarships are telling young people that when you get these scholarships, you are going to go back to your country to implement what you have learned. Another thing is that people just want to get a different sense of exposure that I think I've learned recently, that it's kind of like exposes your mind. Some people get new ideas for businesses, for companies where they are there, and some people can get the opportunity to collaborate with other people from different part of the world. And I think
Okay.
another major reason is COVID-19 too. I view COVID-19 as, two parts. It's bad. It was bad in a way, and it was also a form of, a blessing, in the sense that COVID-19 kind of like bridged that gap in for people to connect with other young people from different part of the world. So because of COVID, you can see that you can be in Nigeria and you're doing like a business transaction with somebody that is somewhere else. So it's not limiting. So I think me, I agree with the point Favour had mentioned. I think people leaving the country, yes, had a huge amount and impact in our country here in Nigeria. So they're not just leaving because they want to leave, they are leaving because they are in search for a better life. And in turn, who says they have to live there forever and ever? No. Some people will change their mind and come back to Nigeria and implement what they've learned. But as far as it is now, I don't think anybody should hold anybody or give any opinion as to whether somebody should travel out of the country or not. If that is
Okay.
what, if that's what your season, if that is what is happening for you this season, you've prayed about it, you're sure that this is the next level for you, then go ahead, by all means, pursue your Japa dreams. And when you get there, if you feel you should come back and impact Nigeria, then that's fine.
Okay. Let me quickly chip it in. I like the fact that we took the conversational aspect, although that's also a route. But the way I see it is beyond just exposure, improving your network or getting more information or a higher degree. It is so bad that people, they don't even mind going to India, for example, going to some other countries that they are not as proud, but whatever it is, whether it has to do with UK or not, anything that will take them out of the borders of Nigeria, they're already out. So a broader perspective, fine, there are a crop of people that actually have their goals, they want to improve themselves, why not? And I also want, an average Nigerian is very excellent, is an excellent person. So when they get there, they are top flyer, even before the Western kind of education, or let's say the institution outside. Why am I saying this? Secondly, studying or getting information has gone beyond physical meetings you can do while you're in your bedroom here in Nigeria. So you do not necessarily have to travel. That's why I see beyond the whole information or having a higher degree, there's really not a necessity due to technology that require that you must be. But on the long run, it's not really like a must that you must be there, but that's not the issue. My next point is, so let's just say the average Nigerian do not mind whatever the country is, as long as they are outside the borders of Nigeria.
Oh, okay. Well, I think that there is some truth to that. I don't think that that's a lie at all. And I don't also necessarily think it's a bad thing. Well, it's a good thing and a bad thing. It's a bad thing because it shows how dire the state of Nigeria is. I mean, for young Nigerians to be so desperate to want to leave the country, to go to study in countries where they do not even necessarily think that they can even gain some kind of educational, economical advantage, points to the fact that there is some desperation behind wanting to leave the country. And I can't help but feel that it's due to the state of the way things are in Nigeria. So I personally can't fault anybody who wants to do that. I might wonder to myself that, but why don't you aim for some other country with a higher GDP, for instance?
They
But
can't meet up with the requirement now, or they don't really have the finance. So it's more or less.
yes, exactly. So that's why I think
I
it's
will
not
also, because you can even see when Libya was like a red zone, but there's some places they're still going. Because I can cross over. You see, it's beyond. That's why I feel like we should not just restrict it
yes, it's like like there's this
on
saying that
anything.
no one leaves home unless home is it a war zone or something like that. So I think people are just tired of Nigeria, and it's not unwarranted. It's warranted. People are tired and they want to try new things, and I don't think that's a bad thing personally.
Yeah, I asked earlier, what happens to the Nigeria dream? What happens to
Well,
the
I think
future of Nigeria, like
the
future of
Nigerian dream
tomorrow?
is to
Have we
Canada. That's
thrown
the
away the
Nigerian dream.
future?
The
Because
Nigerian dream is to become a Canadian permanent resident. That's the Nigerian dream. and whatever Japa step that makes you closer to get to that
So the
PR.
dream.
Yes, yes, I feel like that's the dream. Um, I don't know what the Nigerian dream like. I feel like when I was in Nigeria, I felt so much despair and dissatisfaction. I did not really know what um I could. Well, I knew that I could do. I studied law, so I could like work in a law firm, or I could do a number of other things. But none of those things were really what I felt I wanted to do. I wanted to do something unique and different that I saw a lot of people that I was communicating with abroad doing. But I did not feel like I would be able to get the training that I needed to do it in Nigeria. And that's why I kept trying and trying and trying and trying to leave the country. And I know on Twitter, a lot of people have said that ever since like end-SARS period, when they saw the military people shooting protesters, they just felt like, wow, so this country can actually be things like this can actually happen in broad daylight, and
Mm-hmm.
so they just want to exit by all means.
Okay, so let's look at another point. What about the economic aspect of it? When it comes to the financial aspect, the economic aspect, how well do you think traveling out of Nigeria?
Mm.
There's this image of when I'm there, I'm sure to make it. Is it a promise or it's setting? Well, Favor.
I think listening to everything that you both have mentioned, I think it depends on two things. Like
Yeah.
earlier on you had mentioned people just want to leave the country, which there is an iota of truth in what you said, that people want to what's it called, go to any country that is available. Well, me, I'm of the opinion that if you want to leave Nigeria and you are hopeful that wherever you are going to would bring you to a place where you can afford a
No, I'm
better
not
life
just
for
saying
yourself.
it's hopeful. I'm
No,
saying
no,
when you
I
get
get.
over, yeah.
No, I'm trying to understand. I'm getting to that point. I feel like what I'm trying to say is that I feel like you should be strategic in where you are going to. So the reason why
Okay.
people feel that when they travel to the UK or to Canada or to the US, they would get a better life is because of the way the job security is for them over there. Like in Nigeria, what is the probability that when you graduate from the university, you are going to get a good job? There is no probability that you're going to get a job. There is no probability that you could
Let
do
Favor
other
answer
things
that question.
aside.
Favor,
No, yes.
is there a
There's no probability
tendency
that
that
you can actually do
when you go there
yes.
you get a job?
There is. I think the probability for you to get a job there is higher than living in Nigeria.
I'm even of the opinion that it's even slimmer because I listened to somebody that went, what's this country again? This country that offers free tuition fee, they don't pay some school fee. What's the country?
I think it depends on the location that the person is traveling to. Every country has their own different prospects and the advantages of traveling there. So I would say it depends on the country that you are traveling to. But from the news that I've seen, I think Nigerians relocating to other nations, we are contributing to their own economy positively. And it's not that we are draining them, we're actually contributing to whatever that is going on there, especially in the UK or in Canada. And I think Canada is still requesting for people to travel there. And there is a high chance that you are going to get a job. That
You
is
feel
even
so?
certain. Yes, that's even certain.
Like
And
it
then
is not certain, and even if you get a job, it's more like you're underemployed. When I mean underemployed,
it
managerial
depends. That's what
position in this country, and you're like you're you're even more like a janitor.
I don't think so. I
That
feel
just
it
nice.
depends.
No way.
I know. I don't think so. I think it depends on the route. I think I'm also going to pass this on to Favor because I overheard that saying that she's doing a PhD in the UK. But I don't
Yeah.
think so. I think it depends on the route in which you have traveled to that particular country. So not everybody that travels out end up becoming like a janitor or starting from like low positions. While that
Okay.
point mentioned is true. There are some people that prepare ahead before they travel. So let's say, for example, you are going to the UK, you have to do your own research and say, okay, what are the top skills that are needed in this country. So some people actually prepare ahead and get those skills. Some people, get certifications in, different skills like project management and business analytics and all of that, so that they are more competitive than other people over there. So no, I think the people that get low end jobs, the ones that don't prepare ahead or don't plan before traveling. And even though you even get like a low end job, there is no, I think there's this other lining in this, in the sense that when you get that low end job, you'll be able to work your way through it and get a better job in the ending. And some people also say that the low end job that they get in the UK is better than managerial roles that they hold here in Nigeria. So there are two different aspects to actually look at this. So it can be a starting point for some people. It may not be it may not be bad. I don't even consider it as something bad. It depends on the view of the individual or the standpoint of view from that
Exactly.
individual. Yes, and the
Okay.
fact that there is this hope. They say seeing is believing, and if you can believe in yourself, as cliche as that sounds, it actually works. And there's this hope that if they can get a job that pays them this amount of money, by the time they stay in this country for like 6 to 8 months, they'll be able to get a better job. And if you check, many people actually do get a better job. That's the reason why they're telling Nigerians to leave our country and then travel for a better life abroad. So that's the way I look at it.
Okay, because
I don't know what
be-
people has to say about that, but I
yeah,
think
yeah.
that's
I
the
want to
way I
also
look
hear
at it.
Favor's question I asked earlier. Favor, is it a promise or it's just a smoke screen in itself? Like,
Well, I think it's both. I think it's a promise, and I think that sometimes those promises are sometimes overstated. So when it comes to, for instance, well, depending on the route through which you travel, let's say you are coming in as a doctor, a nurse. Those are professions that are like highly in demand. So
yeah,
for doctors and nurses in the UK particularly, it's both a promise and a smokescreen, because of course you will find employment. The NHS is understaffed, like they are chronically trying to recruit from everywhere, but at the same time the working conditions
the
are
working
very,
environment,
it's very the
sure,
working hours
like
are
something
so
else is demeaning.
forced. And apart from I know that for instance working in care is also could also be demeaning, especially if you are, maybe you were like a bank manager or a relatively middle class in Nigeria, and then you get your visa, or maybe you get leave to, I don't know what it is called. And if you do not already have, if you're not coming over on a work visa, but you are immigrating to the UK, you might also have to, start all over again if your qualifications are old. That's why some people, you find that they go and do their masters again, so that they can get new or fresher, relevant, more relevant qualifications. But on the whole, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. Some people do it for the long haul. They say, okay, well, I know that this job is demeaning. This is compared to my status in Nigeria, even though I am technically earning more than I used to, this is not the status that I am accustomed to. But I'm going to keep doing this, because if I remain in this country for up to 10 years, up to 8 years, then I will gain full citizenship, which I can pass on to my children who are still pretty young. So a lot of people are doing it for a bunch of other reasons. And I feel also that even there are actually a lot of challenges that immigrants have to face in this part of the world, like racism. You find that governments, like in the UK for instance, the conservative government is always trying to pass off, they say every single challenge that the country is facing, they'll say it's because of immigrants, that immigrants
What
are
do you
taking
think?
the
Let's
wealth,
not even go into that.
that immigrants are the ones that are taking up the jobs, that's why people are unemployed. Immigrants are the ones that are taking up the hospital wards, that's why um citizens can't access healthcare. Meanwhile, when you are coming, you have to pay for your health insurance before you can even travel. And like it's so funny. So there are so many
I know who's
challenges that you might not even
into
anticipate.
that.
Like look at the Nigerians that they keep talking about, that 30 something thousand Nigerians came in with their dependents. Meanwhile, all
Yeah.
those people applied legally. If you're applying for a UK visa, for instance, you pay for your health insurance. Like if you are coming for a PhD like me, you pay for your 4 years health insurance at once. That's over $2,000 that you pay at once. And if you
Yeah.
are coming with your spouse will also pay their health insurance. If you are coming
Mm.
with your children, they're also paying their health insurance as well. But when they are complaining about immigrants, they don't say, oh, these people are bringing so much money into our economy. They just say they are bringing
Yes.
dependents. They're coming to rely on our um I feel like it's more of a campaigning point, a rallying point. So you see like the home secretary saying that we are going to restrict immigration. So, like, vote for us. We are the party of Brexit. We are the party that is going to ensure that there are more jobs for British people, more jobs for local people, and all this what do they call it? Nationalist rhetoric. And I feel like it's really just about politics and getting votes, and maybe just
Uh,
old-fashioned racism.
want to go into that aspect, but let me chip in this question just before we round off quickly. Do you believe in the whole idea? I think one of the things they believe also is that we are very. Do you believe there's a place everybody's supposed to be, and or it's the other way, wherever your heart sets you, you can go.
Ah, yes, now.
You believe?
Obviously, yes. And even but coming from a Christian standpoint, that's the truth. There's a place for everybody. There's a place where you are meant to thrive and grow
Okay,
and make more money. If that's what you are asking me, I hope
okay.
is that the question? If that's the question,
Yeah,
I
it's
believe that
it's close. Yes, yes, that's
I
a remark very soon. So, favor, if did you hear the question?
Yes, I get the question. I don't know if I don't really think that I don't really believe that there is a place for everybody to be at a particular time. I feel like, oh well, I think that there are a number of places that people could be at a particular time. It's sort of like, I feel like with relationships, there's not one particular man or one particular woman for you. I think that if you keep your options open and you work hard and you identify your unique talent or gifts, that you will thrive wherever you find yourself.
Okay.
um, but that you should try to find where that unique spot is and what your unique gift is. I think that's
Okay, thank you. So quickly before we round up, so one of the thing I'm getting here is that if you have the opportunity, why not take advantage?
yes.
What's the future of Nigeria like if everybody brain drain happening in this country to the extent that bigger positions to enter, they are more or less vacant now. People
I
are
don't
living
think
by
there's a brain drain, shall. I think I'm viewing it
okay.
from the fact that I don't think there's a brain drain aside from a particular sector, which is the medical field. I think people should answer first.
Okay, favor, let's hear from you now.
Yeah, I think, well, I agree with you that there is brain drain, and I think that a lot of these Western countries are very exploitative when it comes to extracting or poaching talent, especially from countries like Nigeria, where the cost of education is cheaper than it would be in their own countries, and where they have like a slow like a lot of these countries are dealing with lower birth rates, for instance. So it's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
easier,
yeah.
cheaper for them to come to the global south and just start poaching people. So I think that beyond the fact that it brings opportunities to young people, and that it's important for and a good thing for people to travel and see the world, I think we have to come to I've actually been thinking that there has to be a way that countries in the global north that are most culpable when it comes to poaching talent should come to some sort of agreement with African countries. Like, okay, so you want doctors, for instance, you want young professionals. Why can't you reach an agreement with faculties of medicine or basic medical sciences or universities or the government in these countries and set up like a joint multilateral medical training program where it will give an opportunity for countries like Nigeria, where there's a huge
Okay.
population, where there are many people who are trained to be doctors, to train in both, tropical medicine and medicine that is relevant in these countries. It will give young people like, they would have the opportunity. I imagine that there will be scholarships and stuff like that. They will gain more opportunities, and they would also be able to remain in their home countries because they are not getting poached to leave America. I feel like there are all sorts of innovative solutions that could potentially happen if corruption does not make our leaders steal all the money. Like, there's so much that could be happening that could be beneficial to countries on both sides of the globe that is not just happening, and it could also be beneficial to young people in Nigeria and all over Africa. So
Okay.
I think it's a problem, but I think it's a problem, but I don't know why people are not coming up with these solutions yet.
Okay. So Success, you have something to do.
I
Yeah.
actually kind of agree with what Favor has mentioned. So I think it would depend on different. I'm coming from the angle where, okay, so people are leaving the country, right? I'm not seeing a particular improvement from the government to say, maybe people that are holding like important positions are leaving our country, or that holding the gap or standing in the gap in important sector are leaving the country. How can we do to revamp this area so that people don't, leave Nigeria in search for greener pastures? I'm not seeing that. I think they are also like, making the situation worse in terms of even in the education field. You can see what happened with ASU this year. And also for doctors, I've not heard them coming out to say, oh, they increase the salary of person that are working in this field. I think if our government can do that, it would also, just to add to what Favor has said, it would also help to reduce the brain drain that we're having in some particular sectors. And even with the fact that people are leaving the country, I'm still hearing people saying that, oh, they don't have jobs, looking for new jobs here. I would have even expected that as people are leaving the country, we would not be hearing so much complaints about people in search for good jobs. But that is not the case. So me, I'm wondering, for my mind, is that what I'm asking myself is that now that people are leaving the country, who are the people that are now taking up the jobs? And your question in the aspect of what is the future of Nigeria, I'm tempted to say Nigeria go there, all right.
We too, the people that have traveled
I
away.
am saying Nigeria
Thank
go
you
there, all
so much. Thank you so much. I think it has been an
right.
topic. You guys are wonderful, actually. So, closing remark, not to Japa. Favor, what's your response?
If you want Japa, I think you should work towards it. You should look at what skills you have to offer and try to make the best of it. Like, try to look for skills that will make you the best version of who you are
Okay.
and that can make you most productive to your community, wherever you find yourself.
Thank you. So, Success, Japa, not to Japa. What's your response?
I think that if you want to leave Nigeria, you should first of all you should plan ahead, and if you should check the success stories of people that have traveled. So let's say you want to travel to the UK, and
Yeah.
people that have traveled for like three years or have been there for 3 to 5 years, what did they do? Try to ask important questions and don't settle for less. I see a lot of people that are traveling like me. You're leaving the comfort of your country to another place in search for greener pastures. Why are you settling for less? Try and ask, what did they do? I know some people want all the information, but if you keep on persisting, you would get the right information. What did they do? What are the top paying jobs there that are in line with your goals, your own your own interests that you can, easily switch to if you need to do that, and try to make that necessary amendment. And also don't go outside the country and badmouth Nigeria, even though I see that a lot of social media and say, oh, Nigeria is not a good country. Nigeria will become great again if we all, as citizens of our dear nation, work towards making it a great country. So even if you're abroad and you feel there's a need, try your best to defend Nigeria in the best way that you can, and say, oh, I'm from this place, this is your roots, and this is where you're coming from. And I'm sure that if you have a positive attitude and a positive mindset towards leaving Nigeria, it will be good for you. So just be open-minded about it, like people had mentioned earlier, and everything will work to your own favor. And if you're a student, I think you should put Japa in as part of your plans. It will really expose your mind, and it will make you it will make you
Okay.
connect with other people as well too. So I think that's like my final 2 cents, and thank you so much for inviting me. I've had a great evening on your podcast.
Yes, thank you, Favor. Thank you, Success. Ladies and
Thank
gentlemen,
you for this and
thank you for
success.
listening. Do not comment and subscribe. Please, I use your begging. And hear from you that time. See you guys later. Do have a lovely evening.